Hello everyone, welcome back to Babbling about Bridgerton here on It's a Wonderful Podcast. My goodness, it's been a long time since we've talked anything about Bridgerton at all, since we have babbled, as we should say, about Bridgerton. Jeannine, 2 years we've had to wait for this nonsense. 2 years since that season 3 of Bridgerton and Penelope and Colin and all the Lady Whistledown coming out, difficulties that all that was. 2 years ago, it feels like the time has aged everybody, really, doesn't it? But we're here, back on It's a Wonderful Podcast. I'm babbling about Bridgerton, talking season 4, of course, if just part 1 of season 4, by the way. We don't have insider information. We don't know exactly what's coming up in part 2. We'll be certainly back for part 2 of season 4 of Bridgerton as well. And we're going to treat this show a bit differently to how we typically have come to treat our TV shows on It's a Wonderful Podcast, obviously, because it's one of these horrible Netflix shows that have the binge model. Everything gets released at the same time. And obviously it's a new show as well, which we typically focus on shows that have already been produced on Morgan Hasn't Seen TV, on Jeannine Hasn't Seen TV, on our TV-based things here on a Monday on It's a Wonderful Podcast. This is neither of those things, because obviously neither of us had seen this season of Bridgerton before now, because it's only just been released. And we gave everybody a good week to watch these 4 episodes of Bridgerton that are out so far, before we decided, obviously, to come on here and delve into it all. No all the spoilers, I should say, being fully delved into, as much as you can spoil half a season of television. It's not a full season, but we didn't want to have to worry about doing any of that. I've not watched all of it yet or anything like that. We have given everybody plenty of time, I think, at this point to have watched 4 episodes of season 4 of Bridgerton, and I'm very excited to be talking about it again, Jeannine. I think we have appropriately arrived with our cups of tea, as tea is not only significant to Bridgerton anyway, but tea is particularly significant to Bridgerton at the moment, isn't it, Violet?
Oh, yes. Yes, we got a very nice tea moment with Violet Bridgerton. So excited to talk about that.
Yeah, very much. I think you have actually official Bridgerton tea as well, which is quite stunning. I have the good people,
and Benedict tea.
The Sophie and Benedict tea. Okay, very interesting. There's a nice little look for those watching today's episode on the YouTube channel, of course. Do subscribe and ding your notification bell if you are watching today's episode of Babbling About Bridgerton, or, of course, do subscribe wherever you are listening as well, if you are not already, and share it around, leave your likes, all the good stuff. We'll get straight on into it. We're not going to take it episode by episode. We're going to take it sort of storyline by storyline, as it were, relationship by relationship, as I feel has served us well in the past, talking about Bridgerton. Of course, if you weren't aware, we have spoken about everything to do with Bridgerton here on It's a Wonderful Podcast in the past. You can find those on the YouTube channel. Season 1, season 2, Queen Charlotte, even, which was arguably the best that Bridgerton's ever been. I still probably say it probably is. I think so. And season 3 as well. But really, the first question to ask is, where do we want to start today? With what storyline, Jeannine? I think we're going to lead up to the big central Benedict and Sophie storyline, aren't we? To leave that until the climax of this episode, or should we say the pinnacle?
Pinnacle.
This episode
Well, you said pinnacle. So let's talk about Francesca and the whole pinnacle
Yes.
debacle that she's going through.
Francesca's pinnacle. She doesn't know what's going on. What on earth's happening? Oh dear. Is John not very good at, pleasuring her in the bedroom, or is he just being a bit gentle?
A little too polite.
Are they just really bad communicators? Yes.
Yeah, I think so. But it's like I find it silly that like no one can explain this clearly to her.
It's so stupid. Why is it like Violet Bridgerton has a lot to answer for, because Violet Bridgerton, if her husband hadn't died through a bee sting, would have literally filled up the alphabet with children. So clearly is very, very adept in the bedroom and very, very fully aware what's going on. And surely then, if she's so adept, why can she not have any sort of actual communication with anybody else about this sort of thing? Yes, we get her nice little tea moment with Lord Anderson, obviously, we'll be talking about that later. It's very good. It's very, very steamy. But speak to your children properly about sex, because there's a reason they're all messed up about sex, and it's your fault. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah, I mean, the propriety of the time really kind of screws that up for young women who have no clue what's going on. And we saw Simon perfectly explain what it is to Daphne in season 1. So for all of these people, particularly Violet and even Penelope, to be struggling to kind of explain this to her.
I mean, Penelope's a little bit better.
Yeah, she does give a little bit more context. But I don't know if I even really like this storyline because, from what I hear about that Francesca book, she really did love John and everything there was kind of working. So why are we kind of dealing with this kind of confusion aspect? I guess it's maybe to set up these kind of strange feelings she's having towards his cousin, which also is a change from her book, because in her book, the cousin is a male cousin. So and the whole issue with them is not being able to have kids. So when she goes with the male cousin, she is able to have kids with him, I believe. So that is completely removed now. So now I think they have to focus on, her having these strange feelings for a woman, as opposed to some type of betrayal with his cousin, post what happens to John. So I guess they're
if you weren't aware, I think we can get into this sort of thing. If you weren't aware, isn't John supposed to die at some point?
Yes, in the book, I believe John dies, and then she ends up getting with his cousin Michael, but it's Michaela here. So I think maybe just to set up that she's struggling with reaching this pinnacle with John is because she's having these feelings for a woman.
Yes, it's because she's actually gay and would only get that, and I'm sure eventually it will come to it that her first, when Francesca's season comes about, her first proper pinnacle, should we say, will likely be then with Michaela, right?
Yes,
it's all leading up to kind of that. So I understand it, and I understand this confusion. I understand this. Sure, the confusion about what it is in itself is based on nobody wants to talk about this sort of thing, and it messes everybody up, and this is why all the Bridgertons are, in one way or another, a bit messed up sexually. Given that it's such a kind of sensual-based show, it's such a steamy show. It's I've always found it humorous that they're all a bit messed up sexually. But it is also obviously in there to be just like, John's great, John's fine, John's lovely. It's a lovely little sweet relationship they've got. But fundamentally, she isn't going to reach her pinnacle. She isn't going to reach her best. She isn't going to be her best, the best version of herself with John, because it ain't. It goes deeper.
It's not clicking. It's
not clicking. It goes deeper, and this is again, this is not to say that John's not lovely. So obviously, when it comes to it, that John ends up, going.
Yeah. But I
It's
think
going to
that's
make sense.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the frustration from people who maybe read the book and me kind of hearing about the story in the book, that she was happy with John, that like they did reach those pinnacles and all of that. They did have a good kind of sexual relationship and all of that. So to take that away to
Okay.
serve this new version. So I don't know, I could be getting that wrong, but I think from what I've heard from people is that yes, their marriage was perfect, like aside from the fact that they weren't able to have any children.
It's just
But
he's rewriting for the necessity of
yeah,
what they're doing for the show, and I don't dislike what they're doing for the show. I think it's a very, very interesting idea, and I think when Francesca's season does come about, it'll be a really very impactful storyline, given that Bridgerton's obviously set when it's set. So that kind of thing isn't spoken about.
Exactly. So I like the idea of this, of how they're switching it up, but I also kind of feel a little bit disappointed that like it's going to kind of maybe tarnish what John and Francesca's relationship actually maybe was in the book. So
yeah, true.
yeah, so an interesting thing, but yeah, it was just kind of like bugging me that like, why is everybody struggling so much to just explain this to this poor girl? But
very much so, very much so. I do think pinnacle is going to pretty quickly come into the cultural lexicon, though, of this is what we'll now be referring to such events as.
Yes. Yeah, and as I've kind of found myself in this smut writing space, like a pinnacle is a good kind of
It's a great
word to use in that sphere as well. So I'll take a little inspiration from that.
It's a great word. Well, very, very nice there, Francesca. We do hope you reach your pinnacle. We may be getting it all wrong. She may reach a pinnacle in the second half of the season.
Yeah, because we do actually, they kind of hint at like the cousin things with her kind of happy almost to get away from the cousin, and not a happy that like she doesn't like her, a happy that like, oh, I don't have to deal with these feelings in front of my husband kind of thing. So when she does
her and John do kind of develop their communication, and John kind of goes, oh, if I was being too polite, we can go a little bit further. It's perfectly fine. I'm more than happy to do this. And they do try and do that. And it's clearly better for Francesca when that does happen, but it's still not getting her there.
Right. Yeah, because she still even kind of fakes it a little bit, but he clocks that she's faking it. And then they actually have a nice open conversation about it. So I do like that. And so I think now that she does kind of get a hold of like what a pinnacle is. And then as soon as she kind of figures that out, Michaela shows up, and we see kind of this expression on her face, like very much concerned.
Oh dear, I'm having one now. No,
right. Yeah. But so now it's going to be interesting to see how she deals with those feelings in front of John, and all of that. Because I would like to actually read that book. Because the only book I did read was the Penelope and Colin book. But I would actually like to read her book to kind of see how that works, because it's like, was she having feelings for the cousin and kind of, pushing them aside while John was still alive? Like, what did that look like? So I would be curious to get a little bit more context to see kind of what the show is maybe changing about that dynamic, to see if it makes sense for her to kind of play up this kind of fear being around Michaela.
Fair. I get that. I would say that's fair enough. I mean, I haven't not wanted to delve into the books a little bit since my introduction into Bridgerton, but then also coming to realize that the books are noticeably different from the show in a somewhat fairly significant way. It's kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I really like that particular aspect of the show. And I like what the show specifically does. Do I care? It's what do I care about in the world of Bridgerton? Do I care about kind of the show characters, or do I care about the characters? And it might very much be, for me, I'm specifically a fan of the show itself and its depiction of that historical, the historical reimagining that it is undertaking, obviously.
Yeah.
That you don't get in the books, do you? It's much more kind of historically, I suppose we could call it historically accurate. It's much more in the box for these people at this time. But there is a certain interesting quality that all the various, races of characters do bring to the show, given that it's not race blind casting either, it's race specific casting, which does play a part in the show itself and some storylines. And I like that about the show. And you would be missing that in the books because it's not there, because everyone's
not there. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, the show makes a point to really not address it a lot, but there are kind of storylines that do pop up that ultimately end up kind of addressing it. I think, when we're looking at Queen Charlotte, that really
absolutely.
But then kind of the world has shifted once, she's in place and everything. And now it's kind of just how the world is, which I really love. So I think, if you're thinking about the books, it could be an easy kind of transition to kind of go into a book, because since this world is how it is, those racial aspects don't really come up too much.
Yeah. Well, should we get into another storyline that maybe it does come up to a certain degree in? Because I think one of our favourite characters, and certainly the best impression you can possibly do in the entire show, is that of Lady Agatha Danbury, who is going through it a little bit, really, in the first half of season 4, because she's wanting to retire, as the pop-up on screen right now. So she's wanting to leave society and go and enjoy life for a little bit.
Go back to her homeland.
Which is obviously a race element that you wouldn't get with Lady Danbury in the Bridgerton books, like we've just said. But was something we delved into fairly significantly in the Queen Charlotte season as well, which was a lovely series. But she's always been a favourite. I would be devastated for her to leave the show, because Adjo Morando brings so much regality to the whole show. She's so incredibly well presented. She's such a wonderful expressionistic character and actor.
And a support.
She's great.
And a cheerleader for people, and always trying to fix situations and that kind of thing. And she's funny, and she'll see somebody in distress and kind of pull them away from a situation. So I love her, and I love that she makes this plea to just kind of let me go. I want to travel, I want to see things, I want to not be embroiled in kind of the gossip of society, just at least for a time. I'll come back eventually, but then I love that we have Queen Charlotte for that context of this relationship, that she kind of really helped Charlotte kind of figure out this world and guide her and be this support and be this true friend to her. So when the Queen is very strict and kind of relegates her to one of her subjects and this whole kind of thing,
I mean, you understand where Charlotte's coming from, because it must be so painful for your best friend, your absolute ride or die, to just say, I want to leave this now. I want to go off on my own for a bit. What the hell is Charlotte gonna do? She might be queen, but what the hell is she going to do?
Incredibly
she doesn't know what she's gonna do.
Yeah, and she's incredibly lonely. She ultimately ends up admitting her fear of, her husband dying and not being there, and then she'll be all alone. What's she gonna do?
I mean, she's all alone now, because George is obviously what King George III became like in later life. He's not present at all. So she doesn't have him anyway, but when he dies, she literally doesn't have him. And that's not too far off, I don't think. George and Charlotte herself, I suppose, dying, if we're going for historical accuracy. It's not that many years off. So of course she's terrified. Of course Charlotte's terrified. You don't like to see her get aggressive and relegate Agatha to one of her subjects and get shouty and, really childish to a degree, very, very immature kind of reaction about it, but it's also a very understandable reaction.
Yeah, and
it's something you completely get, and she does come around to apologizing and getting her right head on, but she still is
not
nowhere near comfortable with Agatha's decision.
Yes, and so she kind of sympathizes with her with that pure honesty of her fear of being left alone, to where Agatha just kind of relents and says, okay, I'll stay. But she still wants to go. So she kind of has to do a little bit of plotting to try to figure out.
Yeah.
Because also, like, the queen's number one lady's maid has gotten pregnant. So now she doesn't even have that kind of person around. So
she doesn't have any good ladies in waiting, does she?
Yes.
None at all.
Exactly. So now Lady Danbury has to kind of come up with a plan to find an interesting, exciting, gossipy kind of person to take her place. And they're having a dinner with the Mondridge, with Lady Mondridge, and she's there, and she sees her kind of lively and in the conversation and loving to gossip. So she's like, oh, she might be the perfect person. So she kind of tricks her into going there. And ultimately,
why does she need to trick her though? I understand, Alice Mondridge she'll be terrified about the prospect of even
being, under the queen's thumb. Yes. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure.
But I understand that.
Queen's crazy.
What does Agatha think she's going to gain from
by being deceptive about it?
By being deceptive about it, by taking Alice Mondridge to Charlotte, and then in front of Charlotte saying, yes, you'll be a great new lady in waiting, won't you, head lady in waiting? You'll be great. And this is now what Alice is supposed to be. At least have the conversation with Alice beforehand.
Yeah.
Just say, I just think you'll be great. And then try and convince Alice over a period of time that she would be great. And Charlotte's not all that bad when you get to know her, because, Charlotte wants another friend. She wants a friend. She wants people. She likes having people around her. She just doesn't know or trust any of them as much as she trusts Agatha. It's all about Agatha. Surely, reasonably, if Agatha's going to come to her and say, look, let's try and be friends with Alice Mondridge. Just play a bit of a long game for a bit, Agatha.
Yeah.
Don't try and be deceptive about it, because Alice doesn't take it very well, does she, when she gets in front of Charlotte? She just starts panicking and then saying, how could you possibly do that?
They put me in that situation. Yeah. So I think maybe if she had a real talk with her about it, the prospect could have been better. But because it kind of went into as kind of trickery, I think Alice is even more offended. So we'll see if she comes around or if she figures out another plan. But it's rough for Agatha right now, trying to be a good friend, but also wanting to kind of do her own thing. And I commend her for even being bold enough to broach that subject with Charlotte. So
I think maybe sticking with a little bit of Charlotte influence for our next topic, I've titled it as Whistledown is boring now. Whistledown is boring because everybody knows who Penelope is now, obviously. What real sort of
what fun can she have? What can she look like? She's not on the wall anymore, so people will know that she's watching them or she's listening. She can't really kind of slink around as well as she could before, and now people are approaching her and bugging her so that she can write good things about them or to get information from her and all of that.
Namely, Charlotte, who's going, what can we do? Come on, come up with something.
Yes, constantly calling, she has to constantly be reporting to the queen about what she's writing, and she even wants her to kind of use the terminal. She kind of starts telling her, but she's like, no, You have to start with the thing. She's like, dude, it's gentle readers, and she has to like say all of that. So yeah, it's not as fun as her kind of sneaking around and getting, tidbits of information. We see her able to kind of do that a little bit at the masquerade ball, but ultimately everyone kind of knows who she is. People are constantly approaching her, and the queen is constantly bugging her to get the scoop. So
I mean, Whistledown as a pamphlet is still as popular as ever.
Yes, but knowing that it's Penelope now kind of sucks a little bit of the fun out of it, I'd say.
It does, but I think, and you know what? I think it's fine. I've titled this little portion, this little pop-up in a bit of a, shock way.
Yeah.
Because, oh my goodness, what, this would be the, if we were a clickbait article or a clickbait video, would be the title, wouldn't it? But I don't actually think it's a bad thing for the show to move away from being so Whistledown focused. Like, it had to do that anyway. It would have had to do that anyway after going through Colin and Penelope's storyline. And it is doing that. And can we really be mad that it's moving away from Whistledown being such a key focus and the gossip of Whistledown and what's everybody saying about everybody else in Whistledown and all this kind of stuff, to just being more about us watching the truth of all these characters and come out in that. Whistledown's still writing about it. You're still getting Julie Andrews doing a bit of narration of Whistledown's pamphlets, which is great, but it's never something revelatory to us. It's something revelatory to characters within the show, but not necessarily to us. And I don't mind that. I still like it as a structural device
element, to kind of give us our information and give us some little thoughtful insight. But is she going to be able to dig as deep as she did and kind of talk about kind of the woes and the frustrations of society as she did before? It's going to be more focused on gossip, especially with the queen's influence. So it's not going to be as salacious, I think, but it still serves a purpose that I think we
no. I mean, it does. It definitely does. It'll serve the purpose, and it will obviously continue. But I really don't mind that the show is developing more away from just that being such a focus. It's how you progress as a show. I wouldn't like to see Bridgerton become stale. I don't think it is, at all. I just really wouldn't like to see it become that. And I think that's a key element in not allowing itself to become stale. Like, we couldn't have dragged that out for so long, could we? It would have felt overdone. It would have felt silly, really. As for Penelope herself, her and Colin are still going at it here, there, and everywhere, wherever they want to.
Oh, yes, and in the carriage on the way somewhere, just hopping on each other.
There's not a great deal of the two of them.
No, because we have a lot of stories to service, particularly our main story. But yes, we do still see them kind of getting at it in the carriage on the way to a double date with John and Francesca. So
they love a carriage.
Yes, they do.
They really do. One major story, though, that Whistledown, of course, does write about fairly significantly in this season is to do, Jeannine, with the maid wars. Now, this is a little aspect, isn't it? We're getting far more storyline with the maids, butlers, housekeepers, servants, as it were, than we've ever gotten before, namely because, our lead romantic female of the season is one of them.
Yes.
But, I really like that we're getting a bit more personal time with all the housekeepers and the maids and the butlers and everybody else. I think it's very, very interesting to always hear what they think about what's going on, to see what their lives are like. How the maid wars come about is obviously a particular instance, but the concept of it is hilarious to me, really. all the snooty, wealthy people of Bridgerton land, you know, are terrified that their maids
They're
are going to
gonna lose.
leave them.
Yeah, and it's funny also because it speaks to just how good Sophie is at her job, that
Yes.
her stepmother, when she does fire her, needs several people to replace this one person. So that's what starts the war. She fires
Yes.
Sophie, realizes how much Sophie actually did for her, and then has to hire like 3 maids just to do the work of one Sophie. And
Therefore, making a
ultimately,
shortage of maids across the ton.
yes, and poaching maids from other people, and then that starts this cycle of the poaching. So she is the one who started it all.
But it's
And
also giving the maids and other various housekeepers a bit of agency to go and say,
leverage, yeah.
go and leverage, ask for pay rises, ask for a bit more, benefits to your life as maid, an
Yeah.
extra day off, and all these absolutely, unbelievable sounding things. They can do that because they're forcing the issue here. They're forcing
Yeah,
these. They're forcing the people of the Tom to
to see
keep
how
them
valuable
involved.
they are.
Yeah,
Exactly. But we see this not work out for one, um, worker who definitely deserves some better treatment. So this really pissed me off the way that like Lady Featherington does Farley dirty like this. Because we've seen this woman scheme, forge,
yeah.
do all of the dirty work for Lady Featherington.
Lady Featherington is a piece of work. She always has been.
Yes, and so to do this to her, like, I loved kind of seeing her, even though she kind of went with people we're not really supposed to like, I like that she left
Yeah,
anyway because, um, I think Lady Featherington was kind of calling her bluff when she said, "I've gotten some really good offers, I do a lot for you, I keep your secrets, like, I help you with all your scheming, uh,
yeah,
please, like, I would love a raise, maybe a day off, something, an extra day off." And she just gives her some old clothes, some old dresses of the
yeah.
girls and says, "This is a treat for you."
And she
And
presents it as such an impressive gift as well. It's
yes,
like, I've got you an incredibly special
yeah.
gift, Varley. This is,
Mhm.
I've gone out of my way. She said, Ma'am, I thought you were struggling for finances. I thought that's why you couldn't give me a pay
Couldn't
rise.
give me a
Oh,
ri
no, no, no. No expense spared for Varley in giving you
yeah,
these
mhm.
gifts. And then she opens them and, Ma'am,
Secondhand
these are your
dresses.
old dresses. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
and only 2 seasons out of fashion. You'll be the height of,
On
all
your day
your
off. Yeah.
society. All your people will think you phenomenal. And it's
Yeah.
very, very off-putting from Lady Fair.
Yes. Yes,
You
and
do
so
not.
then to see her with a
Yeah,
new family is
yeah.
like well deserved, Varley. You made the right move. So
Very, very well deserved from Valley. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure how well Varley may be treated by her new family.
mm, yeah.
I don't know if these people treat all maids badly or just one specific maid badly because of
Where she stands.
reasons.
Yeah.
Well, because of very, very evil reasons, really. Petty
Yeah.
reasons,
Mhm.
Jeannine.
Yes.
Petulant reasons.
Yeah.
There's an unpleasantness to a certain villainous character in this
Yeah.
season of Bridgerton that is just, oh my god, how could you care this much? If you were just nice, it would all be
It'd
okay.
be
But no,
fine. Yeah, but to go out of
you
your
have to be
way, yeah,
selfish.
to go out of your way out of some kind of perceived jealousy or competition or anything. It's always a really interesting aspect of the evil stepmother character, this kind of
Yeah,
s scorn that she feels and this slight that she feels from, like, this sweet, kind, younger girl, like,
yeah,
um, so yeah, we'll see how they treat Farley. It really frustrated me that Lady Featherington did her so dirty like that, especially all of the insane things we've seen Farley do for this family, for Lady Featherington, forging
yeah.
signatures and letters and scamming people out of money and all of these different things she's helped her with, and she just treats her like that so easily, thinking that she's just gonna stay. So I like that she proved her wrong and did not stay.
Yeah.
She called her bluff. So yeah, it's
I
crazy.
think
And
that,
like,
yes, no,
and
it
I
is.
yes, and I think this is also, I'm hoping as well that this is going to kind of put shame on this family for being the ones who started the maid wars.
They
Um,
should do.
in,
Do you know
and
what,
kind
though?
of shun them from the community because
Yeah,
ugh, terrible.
they are just, look, they've got one redeeming quality, and it's the world's sweetest, stepsister of well, why have I forgotten her name? Sophie. The
Yeah,
stepsister of Sophie, like
yeah,
the one really sweet one, Posy, her name is,
cozy. Yeah.
who's just so nice.
Oh, yeah.
But they're just clearly evil,
Yeah.
and I don't know. They must be relishing. A certain person must be relishing playing something like this, because have I seen her in anything else other than this and the obvious? No.
Right?
I've never seen her in anything else at all. It's like
No,
she's
I
come back to
haven't.
acting after 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, she probably
And
was doing other things, but, like, yeah, I haven't seen her. But it's kind of great to see her in this different way, and, of course, I was I was taken
very,
back
very, I
to
mean, very different, isn't it? My God.
yes, I was taken back to when I saw The Order of the Phoenix in the theater, and it's the scene where Harry kisses her, and, of course, at the time, Harry's to many people's crush, I suppose, and so
Was he?
in seeing I
Was
mean,
Harry Potter really a crush for people?
age appropriate people, just as Hermione was a crush for
Well, yes, I see. I
young
could
boys.
believe that. I could believe that one. I
Yeah.
could also
Well,
believe, such characters as we are vaguely referring to as a crush at a certain point for certain people, i.e., me.
exactly. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think a certain age range watching these films at that time could see, him as a crush. So yeah, it was the scene where Harry is about to kiss Cho, and just it's a quiet moment, and then you just hear somebody shout, "You're a hoe, Cho!" Just like, oh my god. So I just like when I see this actress who played Cho Chang doing these terrible things, that voice is just ringing in my head like,
That's ridiculous.
yeah.
Why would somebody
So
say that?
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Cho Chang, I'd like to point out. Yes, okay. Let's talk about Harry Potter, and whenever you talk about Harry Potter, it's awkward, isn't it? These days, obviously.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
understand. Fine,
Yes,
whatever.
we do.
Go
Yes.
away with your
Very
nonsense views.
stupid lady. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a ridiculous woman.
Yeah.
But Cho Chang really gets undersold in the movies. Like, she's just a bit of a wet wipe in the movies, and she's not like
Yeah.
that in the book.
Yeah.
She's actually a
Like,
real person in the book, and she's just so pathetic in the movies. And it's not Katie Leung's fault.
no,
She's
it's kind of
doing
what they gave
exactly
her.
what she's,
Yeah.
given
Given to
her,
do.
exactly what
Yeah.
she's given to do, exactly. And I've always felt like really just she gets a bad rap in the movies, does Cho Chang. So bad. And I know it's a
Yeah.
stupid name, and I really do know
Yeah.
stop getting over intense about it. I know it's a stupid
We are
name.
aware.
I know there's a
Yes.
lot of ridiculous, over the top, offensive stereotyping in Harry Potter. I know there is, but it's also because it was created by clearly a horrible person.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean to say we can't still like the Harry Potter
Aspects
movies.
of it. Yes. But yeah, so I was just definitely taken back to that moment when I saw this actress doing these awful things. But yeah, I think she's doing a great job,
She
playing
is.
into this
I mean,
character.
it's a good segue into, we can start properly talking about Lady Araminta, as Katie Leung plays in this show, and so how that pertains to Sophie's backstory in as our lead.
Yeah, and I saw somebody bring up a really good point that like seeing these backstory scenes kind of peppered in are really what was lacking from season 3 and even season 2. You know, we could have gotten a lot of great stuff with Kate and seeing the dynamic of her and her father, and then her father
Yeah.
with, you know, her stepmother and that whole kind of situation. We just kind of
Yeah.
hear about it. And, you know, her stepmother taking her on as her daughter after, you know, the father dies and things like that. We could have seen all of that. We didn't. And even, but we got those great, you know, backstory scenes with um, uh, Anthony and
Yes.
and his father dying and all of that, and
Yeah.
you know, his mother,
The
you know,
beast.
struggling in childbirth and all of that thing, and him having to make that decision. And so I think those flashbacks really help kind of flesh out things. And so I was really bummed that we didn't get any of that in 3. I think that was kind of one of the falters with 3, because we hear about how Penelope and Colin met, you know, when they were little kids, and I expected, oh, that would be a really fun flashback to see, and why he chose to be friends with her, and why he kind of, you know, always kind of supported her in these moments where people were being mean to her. Like, why, what does he see in her to like take her on as a friend, and that whole kind of thing? And why does she have this, aside from what he looks like, why is she so in love with him? So it was lacking kind of that fleshing out with some really fun flashbacks and building this history with these characters. But I think they felt like, well, we already know them, so we don't need to go there. But it would have fleshed things out. So getting to have these really great backstory scenes with Sophie, we get to know so much more about her without kind of interrupting the story too much, or without just long exposition dumps of like what really happened. So getting to see it, I think, really adds to this season in a really fun and interesting way. So, yeah,
Definitely.
when
It's
we
almost as though they've realized that there was something lacking from season 3 and have gone back
yeah,
to doing something that they were good at, you
yeah,
know, in past seasons, which is perfectly fine. You know,
mhm,
recognize a fault and then
yeah,
correct it.
and
That's kind of what you're
exactly.
doing. Maybe doing it in a particularly strong way with Sophie here in this particular season, because we obviously see that she is the illegitimate daughter of a lord
Mhm.
who, you know, is kept around the house and treated
Yeah,
very well.
calls
You
her
know,
his ward and keeps her around
yeah,
and treats her as a daughter. Yeah,
very much so, as she is, but we know what illegitimacy for children is kind of
mhm,
like in these situations throughout history. One only needs to look at Game of Thrones and its treatment of illegitimate children and
yeah,
bastards
mhm,
and everything
bastards
like
and
that,
all that. Yeah, mhm,
to understand the realities of it in real
mhm,
history. So
yeah,
it very much is a thing, um, and we we just feel so despairing, I suppose, when it comes to it, that Sophie's father ends up obviously passing away,
yeah,
um, and she is left with Lady Araminta, her stepmother, who at first, you know, on first meeting, we see this whole big lineup of all the servants in the house because,
mhm.
oh, the Lord's bringing his new wife
His new
home and all
wife
this
and his and her daughters and this whole kind of
and
thing.
her
And
daughters.
we set up this thing that like he clearly allowed her to call, you know, him father, because one of
Yeah,
the maids is, you know, she's like, don't call him that,
yeah.
when
Don't
these
call him
people
that in
are
front
around.
of your new,
Yeah.
in front of your new stepmother. Do not
Yeah.
call him father. It's very important that you
Yeah.
do not call him father. And I mean, look, it isn't great on his front either, really, is it?
Yeah, because you
When you
think
are
he cares to a
accepting,
degree, and then
yeah,
he
when
walks
you are
right by
accepting
her.
her as your daughter, because you
Yeah.
are accepting her as your
Mhm.
daughter, you have been accepting her as your daughter. We
Mhm.
see scenes of you accepting her as your daughter and
Mhm.
being with her and being close with her and all this. But
Mhm.
why would you not want to carry that on with your new wife? Why would you not just say, I have this child from a previous relationship? I understand the propriety of it all,
Yeah.
obviously, but I'm just thinking personally, why choose Araminta over your own daughter, the only
Exactly.
child you've got?
Yes, and why change that dynamic for her suddenly without kind of explaining it? Because you think he cares to the degree of, like, him, pu putting her into classes and bringing her up as a lady to learn all of the things that young ladies need to learn, dance lessons and all of these things.
Yeah.
Allowing her to call
Various
him father.
languages.
Yes, allowing her to call him father and all of this. But then you see this lineup and he goes right by her to the point where
Yeah.
Lady Araminta has to go, "Oh, who's this lovely little girl?" And then he kind of just has to, brush it off by saying, "Oh, she's my ward." And the shocked, stunned look on
Yeah.
Lady Araminta's face, the fact that he didn't tell her and that she was a bit of a lie. So it does kind of bring up an interesting question once we do get to the flashback scene of them at his grave. And Lady Araminta tells her, "You are not in his will." Do
Yeah.
you believe that she was
I don't
actually in
believe
his
that.
will?
I
Do you
I
believe,
I
because
I d
how he treated her kind of in these little moments, um, is that enough to tell you that she's telling the truth, that she wasn't in the will? Or do we believe that she was in the will and Lady Araminta is lying? So I like that they do kind of leave it up to, they give you a little bit to think maybe she's lying, and they leave a little bit to make you think that, yeah, maybe she wasn't in there because he clearly, had a very complicated relationship with her once Lady Araminta and her daughters come into play.
Yeah, very much so. I like that it's ambiguous at this point. I don't know. I'd like to think in the second half of this season we will get a bit of clarity on that. Whether it will be relevant or not, I don't think it
Yeah.
will end up being relevant because we kind of know what's going to happen by the end of the season, don't we? It's what happens at the end of every
Oh,
season of Bridgerton.
yes,
Her
and
and
every
Benedict are going to end up.
Cinderella story.
Well, yeah. So Sophie and Benedict are going to end up together regardless of what happens. But I would like to. I'd almost like for Sophie to get a little bit of assuredness that her father did actually really
Care
care
about her.
about her.
Yes.
To
Yes.
maybe to find this will in some documentation somewhere,
Yeah, because
and
I think she would need to have that status to even be with Benedict, so it might be a situation where it
yeah,
builds up to them wanting to be together but can't because of the classist things,
yeah.
and then we find this will that shows she has been,
Yeah, or with my dying wish, I legitimize you, or something
Exactly,
like that.
something like that, and then she can be with Benedict and that whole kind of thing. So in my mind, I do think the will come up again, and I do think she's in there and that Lady Araminta is lying, but I like
Yeah,
that they
she
leave
she
enough.
knows that she's in there, but he's like, "Well,
Yeah,
we can't be saying any of that. It's all for me. I'm the most important one now, and you'll turn
exactly.
literally into Cinderella and start
Yeah.
cleaning the fireplaces."
Yeah, and you see the little ways in the flashbacks how it started as well. Like, "Why aren't you doing your dance lessons?" "Oh, Lady Araminta said I'm not allowed to do dance lessons with, Rosie and Posy anymore.
Yeah,
So, I can't do that anymore." And so and he doesn't like, he says he's gonna kind of fix it, but does he really?
he's
We
weak. He's
also
weak. Well, he lets Lady Araminta just take over his
kinda
entire
take over.
being, seemingly.
Exactly. Yes. And we do kind of get a little bit of this necklace of, that belonged to her mother
Yes.
that he gave her,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of like a keepsake kinda thing for her to have that memory.
But her
Um,
mother was obviously like nobody
Probably a
of
servant.
any.
Yes, probably a
Yeah.
servant he had an affair with or whatever. Um, so yeah, I like that we do get a lot of these backstory scenes, and it made me kind of frustrated that we didn't get that really with more characters in previous seasons, because I think it worked beautifully to really get us to know this character, to understand her, and a really smart way to do it without a ton of just plotty exposition dumps, which is kind of what we got with Colin and Penelope, which is why I think that season was a little bit disappointing for people, because they just kind of
Yeah.
told us how they met and had a cute little conversation about it while they were shopping or whatever. But I would have rather
Yeah.
liked to see that instead of, you just
Yeah.
telling me. But
No,
yeah,
I
I
think
really
it's
liked learning this backstory.
very much so. Very much so. I completely agree. I hope Araminta gets her comeuppance, and I can just see, you know, Katie Leung's going to keep playing into this real spitting sort of jealousy that she's giving in this
Yes.
entire show. I think she is giving an admittedly really good performance and
Yeah.
I'm glad to see her back in something major.
Yeah,
I
and
really
something in a big kind of mainstream thing. And now they're gonna be it was this big speculation in the last little couple episodes of who is moving into the place next door to Bridgerton House, and we find out that it's
Yes,
them. So she's
which
gonna
is
be
chaos.
right next door to where Sophie is working and living. So yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
cause some issues for sure.
You see, not to do Katie Leung disservice here. She has been steadily working since Harry
Yeah.
Potter. I've just had a quick little look, but
Okay,
clearly just nothing I've seen
Seen.
of any
Yeah.
note, which is unfortunate to a degree, I suppose.
Yeah, she's very
She was
talented,
she was definitely a childhood crush of mine from Harry Potter. So
yeah.
what can I say? What can I say
Yeah.
about that? We do obviously want to get into what we I think are calling our two major storylines
Yeah.
of the season
Take a little
as
sip
well
here.
before we get too overcome with time on today's
Yeah.
show. But we do want to briefly mention Eloise as well, who I feel like isn't getting the best sort of treatment from the show at the moment. I think
No.
Eloise was a very, very strong character in the first couple of seasons and has just kind of been, I don't want to say cast aside a little bit, but do they know what to do properly with Eloise at the moment?
Yeah.
No.
No, and I wonder if the second half is even gonna kind of establish any little bit of her story because, um, she's presumably gotta be kind of the next step of storytelling, um,
Well, yeah,
because
I mean, maybe it's Francesca next. Maybe I think Francesca next would make more sense.
yeah, but I'm thinking book-wise, I think Eloise was supposed to be next, but they already kind of put things out of order because I think,
Yeah, they did.
Benedict was supposed to be before Colin.
Well, the stupid thing is obviously all the Bridgerton children are named alphabetically, but
Yeah.
the show has gone DACB,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's completely out of order.
Out of order. Yeah, anyway, so, yeah, like, I would hope they would at least maybe establish a bit because I think her story is a bit involved from what I've read, because we're gonna have to kind of bring back a storyline and a character that was well back in season 1 to establish kind of anything with her. But she's kind of
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
yes, because she's meant to I can't remember his name, but, Marina, the man she marries who's, like, all into plants and
Yeah.
things. I think Marina ultimately spoilers for the book, Marina ultimately dies, and I think she writes him a letter of condolence, and then this starts a pen pal kind of relationship between the 2 of them, and that's kind of where her love story happens. But then I also saw somebody talking recently about that book and saying that, like, it's not really a passionate relationship. It ends up kind of just being a little bit bland of like, "Okay, I guess I'll marry you," kind of thing. So I'm hoping if they do go that route, they will probably, take the time to invest in spicing up that relationship. So even if the season ends with her writing a letter to him and that's kind of where they leave it, that would be at least something interesting for her because yeah, she's just kind of floating through society like, oh well, I'm not averse to being in society, but I'm already resigned myself to like I'm on the shelf. I'm not looking for anything. So I can kind of just
Yeah.
enjoy this as a passive observer and not have any pressure. And then that also plays into her hurting Hyacinth's feelings because since
Yeah.
she doesn't since she's kind of claiming she's on the shelf, her mother tasks her. She's like, Violet won't accept this. She's like, no, you're not on the
No.
shelf. But since you want to like have this attitude, I'm going to make you oversee all of Hyacinth's like classes and teachings
Yeah.
and things. And
Because
she's just
Hyacinth isn't far off being able to have her
to be
debut
out.
herself.
Yes, and she's very excited about it. And all Eloise can do is make fun and make jokes, and
Yeah.
Hyacinth is really looking for her counsel and advice and is excited about everything. And Eloise is too kind of caught up in herself to even notice that like Hyacinth is really excited about this. And so it kind of we get a little bit of moment where Hyacinth kind of calls her out and like calls out that, you've hurt my feelings, Eloise, for
I mean,
making this thing that I want to do. See, I know it's so dumb to you that you don't even care. And she kind of
yeah,
storms off. So maybe that will give Eloise a little bit of perspective to kind of really see what society looks like from that vein of somebody who is really excited about it, who she cares about.
yeah. I
And maybe
know.
that will get her kind of the ball rolling with her kind of maybe attempting to talk to people, talk
Yeah,
to
I mean,
suitors. So,
I almost don't think Eloise, in when she gets her season on the show, which
mhm,
you have to assume will happen, you
yeah,
know, I think any sort of romance with Eloise is just going to be a bit of a tough story to make any sort of similarity to any of the other seasons at all. And I think the good thing about Bridgerton, what people like about Bridgerton, is we know what to generally expect. It's the storyline itself and the thematic elements of each individual season will be slightly different based on who the couple is
yeah,
and what the specific couple are dealing with. Obviously, Daphne and Hastings were different to Anthony and Kate. Has
yeah,
anybody been better than Anthony and Kate? Maybe Charlotte and George.
yeah.
But Charlotte and George were obviously in Queen Charlotte much different. Colin and
Yeah.
Penelope much different in a relationship, and
Mhm.
now Benedict and Sophie much different. So everybody's always different, but we know what to
Yeah.
expect. Eloise is totally different to all of them in the sense that she actively doesn't want any of this. It's not even like Benedict, who goes out of his way to be romantic, is just
Yeah.
not
Like, he doesn't
interested in settling
in
down up
settling
until this
down
point,
and
obviously.
society. Yeah, and as a
Yeah,
society, but he's still a very sexual, romantic love person.
exactly.
Eloise has not thought about a book, like, aside from her little kind of romance with the, newspaper guy or whatever.
This is what I mean. This is the
So we've
point I'm
seen
trying to
her kind
get
of have an
towards.
attraction, but, like, yeah, it's very far from what we've seen from her. So it'll be interesting to kind of jump in. So that's why I feel like if they're going to establish this, they need to maybe kind of lay the groundwork now, because I don't know how
Yeah,
believable it's going to be for somebody to turn her head enough for her to kind of completely, change who she is and 180. So I don't know.
yeah, that's the point I'm trying to get towards. I don't think her season should be a romance season. I think it should be her. It's almost like Little Women, right? She should be Jo Marsh, She should
Hmm.
be going off on her own and say maybe she has some sort of weird guy, maybe it's the newspaper guy, whatever, who she has a bit of a flingy fling with. But really, it's all about her and her own ambitions because that's who she is. I think any actual romance would falter the character of Eloise. It wouldn't feel like Eloise unless they did it very, very precisely in a
Yeah.
very in a way where, I mean, it would take an awful lot for Eloise herself to really tell us, the viewer, to come
Yeah.
around, that she has come around, apologies, that she has come around into feeling a romantic sense for anybody at all. It would take an
Yeah.
awful lot for that to happen. So I think it would be, of course, they're not quite sure what to do with Eloise. Of course, the side, putting
Yeah.
her to the side a little bit, because
Hmm.
it's easier to do what you're good at. And what Bridgerton's good at is exactly what Bridgerton does. It
Yeah.
isn't good at doing what Eloise needs.
Yeah.
Eloise is born 100 years too early, by the way, because if this was 1915, she would be head suffragette out there with Emmeline Pankhurst and the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
Going, votes for women, votes for women. You can't really have her doing that 100 years earlier, because we tried a little bit of that, didn't we, in season 2, was it?
Hmm.
When she was going to those sort of political
Yeah, that's when she
speeches.
had the whole thing, I think, with that guy who was very,
Yeah,
like, book read and opened up the world for her a little bit and kind of had a, a little back and forth and got her to think and got her to kind of uh step outside of her own kind of way of thinking and all of that thing. So you need a guy, I think, like that to maybe kind of break through. But the guy that like she's supposed to be with, Marina's husband now, he seems kind of like a boring, plant nerd guy. So I don't know. And like from what I said, like and from what I heard, he like their marriage and relationship ends up kind of just being like, I guess, kind of thing. So I'm really curious. I'm just curious to see it. Like, I want to see how they make this work. So you're saying like, don't even attempt it.
I'm saying don't even attempt it. Yeah, I'm saying do something with Eloise totally different and go this political, go this activist angle with her. Yeah. Go this ambitious activist angle with her and make that and the success of her becoming that the point of her season. And yes, okay, maybe she can be awakened
very much like Joe March. Be very much like Joe March.
Very much Joe March.
Where she, Louisa May Alcott did not want her to end up with anybody, but the publishers were like, she has to end up with somebody. So then she tacked on this romance. So, maybe it'll be like
very
that.
Much Joe March.
But I'm kind of on the opposite end. I just kind of like, I feel like I agree with you that it feels like this impossible task and it feels like something very averse from the character. But that's like a challenge in my brain. I want to see if they can do it, if they can convincingly put a romance with Eloise on screen. So
I mean, look, if they can do it and they do it successfully, it might be the most impressive thing they've done.
Yeah.
Because she's so averse to it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's what they'll want to do. We're not quite sure. Let's get into the big dogs then to for the last sort of 20 minutes or so of the show here now, Jeannine, because I think before, obviously, we're leading up. We know it's Benedict and Sophie's season. We've talked a little bit about Sophie already. Calm down. We're getting there. There's more important things to talk about first. Because what the hell's this line? I'm the tea you'll be having. Yes, you are, Violet. My God. It's
my gosh.
Literally, so it might beat I Burn for you. It might beat all the lines that anybody's ever said to anybody else in Bridgerton, which have been phenomenal. There's several George and Charlotte lines that are like this as well. There's certainly, obviously, I Burn for you, Kate and Anthony and all this business. But I am the tea you'll be having while she's sat there in her bodice and looking very prepared for Lord Anderson to rip his clothes off and rip her clothes off and just get fully into it.
Good. But even the buildup of like the nervousness and like at the masquerade, she finds him, and I'm putting a wrist kiss in all of my scripts, my audio, because when she finds him outside of the masquerade, which she looks absolutely stunning at the masquerade, and he just takes her hand and lifts her wrist and kisses it.
Yes.
And then people come around, she has to act all proper. And I think even Benedict also gives a wrist kiss to Sophie as well. So I'm like, I love that move. It's really like a really kind of sexy, subtle thing.
The thing is, though, Marcus is so ready. He's so
patient as well.
He's so patient. He's so ready to just, when you say the word, I'm there. Don't you worry about it. I will be here. I want this quite clearly. Look at the beaming smile I've got on my face the whole time.
Exactly. But even like the first kiss scene when they're sat on the couch and she's just going off like saying a billion words a minute and she feels like she's put him off and he's just like giggling because he thinks she's the cutest thing ever. Yes. And he tells her, and she's like, "Oh, I've put you off. You don't want me at all." He's like, "No, I think I want you more now."
Yeah.
Like, and then the kiss happens. Okay.
I understand everything you're thinking. I understand everything you're going through.
I understand your hesitations, your fears, the love you had with your husband. Like, I'm there. I understand it all. And perfect for me also because my karaoke jam Bridgerton style kicked in at that kissing scene as well. Like Paramore's All I Wanted Was You.
Oh, yes. Oh,
So
do
I
you know what?
loved
There was a few good ones. There was a few good,
yes,
the
the
old
great
violin versions of
Bridgertonized.
songs.
Yes. So I love that like my jam like kicked in at their first kiss moment on the couch. And then, she has to kind of
Okay.
get herself together. And
I
then
quite
yes.
liked at the Masquerade when DJ Got Us Falling in Love Again came on on the violin.
Yes, that was great.
Which is ridiculous. Which might be the most ridiculous one yet, to be honest with you.
I like the carriage. I think Mr.
No,
Worldwide
the
Pitbull was pretty
Pitbull
ridiculous.
one. That was for the scene. It was why they had to pick Pitbull. I mean,
it's
lyrically
kind of iconic, but it made for an iconic moment, I think, just the ridiculousness of that song choice. But yes, I was happy to have their first kiss to that song because I love that song. It's my karaoke jam. And all leading into kind of her finally feeling ready. And just the way that line was delivered. Oh yeah, she said you were going to be serving tea somewhere else. So am I to assume that I am the tea you'll be having? Yeah. And he's like, we can take it slow. She's like, no, take off your clothes immediately.
Do not take it slow. Do it now. But Mrs. Wilson helping her out so much.
Yes, it's so great. Like what if there's
what
would one do?
If there's one person that or if there's one family that doesn't need to worry in the maid wars, it's the Bridgertons because they're so nice to all of their servants.
And she has to ask. I love that she asks and says, "Hey, so you're not gonna get all caught up in this." And she's like, "Oh no, we are all."
Mrs. Wilson literally says, "Don't be ridiculous. We love it here. This is fine."
Yes, and if there is any dissension, I will shut it down as well, kind of thing. So and so like the way that she kind of goes to bat for Violet in this moment and like sets her up to like have the house to herself and deliver him to her room and all of this kind of thing. Very, very nice.
Takes his clothes off and we get a nice booty shot of him.
Yes.
And he's a very handsome man.
He's gorgeous. Yes, and he's very smooth as well. Like their chemistry is just off the charts. I love it. So yes, all of that was so good. Love that her garden has finally been tended. So
yes. I want pure chaos for the two of them in the rest of this season. I just want them to almost keep getting caught in horrendous situations.
Yes, and I know one
happening, and then they have to come out with it.
And the one child who will take issue and make a big thing out of it is Anthony. So when he shows up,
yes, of course he will.
He's going to be fussing because he was even fussing when like they were talking, I think at a ball or something last season, and he like pulled her away. So
that's because Anthony's got he had such a close relationship with his father. He was the closest to his father.
Yes.
So but I will enjoy seeing Kate and Anthony back.
Yes, with their baby.
I don't know how much we'll get of them, but they'll be coming back. So that's
we're going to see them with their cute little baby. So we'll see what that looks like.
More than we get of Daphne.
I know. It's like just recast them.
For stupid Reggie Jean Page's fault. He doesn't want to come back.
Yeah, he just wanted to do one and done. And like I think
Daphne's
actress was fine coming back. Like she came back a little bit.
I think she did, didn't she?
In season 2 to be kind of this counsel for Anthony and all his stuff. But like just recast them. Just if you're gonna have them in minimally popping in, just recast them. Like you recasted Francesca to up her age and so just recast them. You can find people that are great actors who can, have fun with those roles, and so the whole family's kind of
want to be in Bridgerton.
Yes, it's just weird that they're just not there, and I get kind of from the actor's perspective, like we don't want to be there if it's just going to be for like a little bit and nothing.
No, sure. So, come on, have a bit of fun with it.
Exactly.
Is it not the biggest thing you've ever done, Reggie?
Right?
Is it not the biggest?
Like I did not. You are a fine man, but I had no clue who the hell you were before Bridgerton. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And now I'm excited to go watch you in Me and Tuscany because it's going to be super cute.
Sure. Yes. It has granted you many of the things you have done since, many of which have been very good, and we've liked you in, and you're a perfectly nice person. So just recognize this, please, Reggie.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's most people's feeling about it. Yes, I'm not one of those people who say, "Look at your career sucks. You shouldn't have left Bridgerton."
No,
a lot of people kind
doesn't
of have
suck.
that attitude. Exactly. And you understand his choice. Like if he was only going to have like a couple scenes, like why come back for that? So yeah, just recast because it's just weird that they're not there.
It is weird. It is weird.
Yes, but really,
but yes, Anthony's going to take some serious umbrage.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
You know, sexiest man alive and all that business. He will have no say on his mother's sexiness. You know, he can have say on his own sexiness, and it will take Kate going, Anthony, just it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Look, Lord Anderson's literally perfect for her.
He's a good man.
He's so nice. He
has good motives. Yes, exactly. So we will share what that looks like, but
we will. We will indeed.
I think it is time.
It is. It is. I mean, look though, the steaminess was off the charts in this particular scene, wasn't it? For
yes,
you know, it's unbelievably so. Will we be getting steamier scenes in the second half of the season? Possibly, maybe. We don't know.
Yeah,
I would imagine so.
Her actress, I think Ruth Gemmell is her name. She was very nervous about kind of even going to the degree that other actresses have. So I don't think she's going to be like.
Oh no, I don't think there'd be anything more graphic than what we got.
Yes, I think Penelope has been the boldest of the ladies.
Definitely. You know, fair play to Nicola Coughlan, but she's definitely been the boldest.
Yeah, I mean, she was like, I have great boobs, so you're gonna see them. She's very proud. So I was like, I love that.
That we did.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yes. Okay.
It's time. Benedict is here to lead the whole season. Isn't he?
Yes,
he is. I mean, I've kind of liked Benedict up until this point, but I feel like I'm very much enjoying his character in this season. I know he's a bit messy, very messy, and kind of annoying and says the wrong things and does the wrong things sometimes, but there's something very, very endearing, I think, about Benedict. I think he wants to do the right thing an awful lot of the time.
Yes. And like we see how he is with his servants and how he treats them and all of that kind of thing. So we know him to be like a good, kind, thoughtful person.
The crab trees at my cottage, that home that they end up going. They're such lovely people as well.
Yes.
He's so into them.
Yes. So I loved that aspect as well. Sophie ends up kind of bouncing from different jobs after she gets fired. She's working at this one place with this terrible family, and one of them is harassing one of the other maids. Sophie stands up to him and gets pushed down, and Benedict intervenes and, beats up the guy and tells him to leave her alone. And then ultimately Sophie is fired from that job. But so now she really has nowhere to go. So she goes with Benedict to this cottage. He's injured, so she has to kind of help him as well. All post, this, and I think this is meant to be kind of like, people are like, dude, how do you not recognize her? But I think in the book, it's actually been several months or even like a couple years, like 2 years or something.
Okay.
So I don't know how much time has passed in the show since, like, him finding her at the masquerade.
Never clear, is it? I mean, how long is a season in the show? They talk about
what is the passage of time?
It is now, we are in season, and it's now not the season, and we are now in season again. Who's going to debut this season? How long is a season? Tom,
exactly.
Tell us.
Exactly. So we're not too sure how much time is. I don't think, maybe I missed a line of dialogue that said, but I'm not sure. So
no, I can't remember one.
Their ultimate meeting is very cute. Like, she's not trying to have her name written down anywhere on a dance card.
Yeah.
because she sneaks to this ball. I like that we see her kind of just go and be there, and then we kind of flash back to how she got there. That she had made this.
We don't know. She just seems like a mysterious person.
Yes. Yeah. So then we kind of learn who she is. We see that she had made that mask for one of her stepsisters, but ultimately they didn't need it. They find an old dress in the attic, and where she wears that. And she has kind of her fairy godmother of one of the other maids and one of the other kind of valets help her out, and help her kind of go and have this night in this moment. And Benedict is drawn to her because he sees her just kind of looking at the chandelier, and kind of saves her from some guy bugging her to dance. And he says, "Oh no, I'm already dancing with her." And then they actually have like some real conversation, some deep conversation, without her kind of and depth and those kinds of things, shallow seas and all this whatever. So yeah, I think the meet cute really works in terms of kind of getting a sense of each other, her being different than other women he's known, and they do enough to where you could understand why she would kind of capture his attention, and their whole kind of moment leading to a dance and then a kiss before she runs off at midnight. I think all of it plays into the Cinderella really beautifully, the glove instead of the shoe. And they give that whole kind of little moment time to breathe to where it would like really affect him. So I like that they didn't rush through that, or leave it as kind of loosey-goosey as actual kind of Cinderella, where it's literally like we just see them dancing all night and we don't hear kind of what they talk about. Yeah,
it's got more meat to it than Cinderella, which you would hope it has, because Cinderella doesn't have a great deal of meat to it at all, obviously.
No,
and at least the search for who obviously we know as Sophie, but Benedict has no idea. Benedict still thinks, I mean, even when Benedict and Sophie come together at, what is his name, Cavender's house, and he saves her from the sort of attack that Cavender seems to be about to do on her. They obviously then go to my cottage, and the whole relationship kind of blossoms from there.
Yeah, he doesn't recognize.
He still believes that this is a different person to the one he's actually in love with from that masquerade ball.
Exactly. And he's been sketching her and drawing her, but then he starts sketching and drawing Sophie, and he's realizing he has feelings for her. So is he like forgetting about the woman who, he has fallen in love with, or is he just kind of like falling in love with this other woman who's a servant? And what is he going to do about it? But the chemistry between them, is great at the cottage, and those really close kind of tender moments. And
it's almost annoying from Sophie, because I think she's giving a great performance as well, I must say. Yerin Ha, who plays Sophie. I must say, though, I'm constantly annoyed by her, in just the sense of, oh my God, just let him like you. Just let him be nice to you. Why do you keep
pushing him away?
Why do you keep pushing him away? Why do you keep just trying? When he's offering to do something for you, just let him do it. Let him do it for you. Let him help you. No, you can't do that. He wants to. Let him do it.
Yeah.
Open yourself up. Oh my God, it's so annoying.
I know, but she's so scared because she's like, I don't want him to know the truth, because if he knows the truth, then it's I'm gonna get my heart broken. But you're already gonna be heartbroken anyway, not being with him, So that logic is always annoying.
It is. It doesn't.
That logic is always so annoying.
You've got
if
to
I'm not
try.
With you, I'm afraid to be with you because you'll break my heart. But being with him, being without him is also kind of heartbreaking, right?
You might as well try. So, I mean, look, it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. But my God, was it getting just, especially at my cottage, when she's having conversations with, the crab trees, the housekeepers who are there, and they're noticing that, her and Benedict are getting a little bit close.
Yeah.
And all this. Oh, what do you think's going on here? It's like, oh, well, maybe she needs to watch out. I think she has a bit of a sternish conversation with Mrs. Crabtree.
Yeah, yes, and also kind of knowing a bit about Benedict's kind of rakish qualities as well. So is he kind of using her as a side kind of thing? Has something already happened between the two of them? And
now,
that kind of
when we say using her as a side kind of thing, it's not not what happens, is it, by the end of this part? You know, by the end of the first half. There's a reason at my little pop-up banner here on the bottom, if you're watching today, is subtitled with "Will you be my mistress?" Because if there's one way to kill the mood, Benedict,
It's
right
that.
when right when you're getting there, right at the end of the fourth episode that we all know is going to be, you know, the midpoint. We're going to have to wait another month to see the rest of it, and we're like, oh, I know what's going to happen here. We've all been leading up to this, haven't we? They're going to find each other here, because it was about sort of running off to various parties and get-togethers and what have you. And they came back together, and he finds her on the stairs, and he's just going for it. They're just kind of half going out, and you're thinking, yes, this is exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, yes, perfect way to end the season. And then he comes out with that.
Yes. Well, because it's this built-up yearning, because he ultimately does get her and her friend that, you know, was attacked by that guy, Cavender, a job at Bridgerton House. And she's kind of hesitant about it at first, but ultimately takes the job and loves it there. And everybody's really kind to her. And this, and this is
everybody wants to work for the Bridgertons.
Exactly. And she, you know, is kind of there for Eloise to be kind of her support. And it's also like a nice setup for her to get to know the family and the family to get to know her. So obviously when it ends, how we know it's going to end, they'll know her, they'll care about her.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good, speaking about Eloise, to be fair, it's actually nice for Eloise to have somebody else there who's kind of aligned with her with a lot of interests
kind of stuff and
things
can
like
talk
that.
about, you know, society in kind of this outsider perspective, because even though Eloise is in society, she kind of doesn't care about it. So but then also her being around Benedict at Bridgerton House is causing all this kind of yearning and building up and all this kind of thing. And even
she doesn't want to accept her own yearning, does she? Which again is quite annoying. Like, you're in Bridgerton. Like, I know it's silly, but I'm shouting to the screen. You're in Bridgerton. Accept your own yearning and just follow through with it. What's wrong with it?
Just leave the glove hanging out of your pocket or something. Just leave the glove hanging out of your pocket. Let him kind of figure it out or something if you're too afraid.
Because it's not as silly as actual Cinderella. You know, Benedict hasn't been going around trying to fit the glove, on all glove he has on everybody's hands, because, well, that would be over very quickly, because it fits you. Wait, was it you? It must have been you. You wore the glove. That's always been a problem with Cinderella.
It's
always been a problem with Cinderella. I don't like the glass slipper only fitting one person. How was it so perfectly tailored? Shoes come in sizes. I understand this was a medieval fairy tale. Shoes come in sizes.
And it was a magic shoe made just for her.
It was a magic shoe.
But more than one person has the same size foot in a whole kingdom. I have to assume. But yes. We do get a couple false, like, oh, we think it might be this person, and he meets them and it's not quite them kind of thing. But so all of this yearning being around in Bridgerton House. Also shout out to her friend that he gets a job there, being an amputee that they put on the show. Because I love, you know, we've had people in wheelchairs, we've had deaf people, I think we've had blind people, you know, among like the people of color and the diversity and all of that. We also have, you know, the maid who is an amputee who you know, is missing her arm. So
the best thing about that sort of thing is that it's literally just part of the world.
Exactly. It's not a thing that is like, you know, addressed or like what she can or can't do or anything like that. She's just a character who happens to be that. So loved seeing that. I love when I see those, because I'm like, oh, the show's really like, you know, all encompassing everyone. It's great. Love it. So I just wanted to kind of shout that out, that I loved seeing that. But all this yearning built up, and now it's kind of like a night out. All of the servants are going to go out because this is the night of the, you know, I'm the tea. Getting everyone out.
They have to go out. Mrs. Wilson has insisted they all go out. She's not told them why.
Yes. And Benedict, she's kind of told Benedict to kind of stop coming to Bridgerton House and leave her alone because he's making it difficult for her, blah, blah, blah. But he is stewing and he can't accept that. So he rushes back to Bridgerton House to just talk to her because he's having these stirrings. And she goes back to get
one moment. There was one moment I actually thought Benedict was going to run into his own mother.
I know. That's what I was worried about, that was going to be an issue, but no, he goes kind of to the servants' quarters and that's not an issue. But I thought, oh no, really?
Don't walk in on your mother and Lord Anderson.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I was worried about, but I'm glad that wasn't a part of it. So she goes back for her coin purse. He goes to the servants' quarters looking for her. They run into each other on the stairs, and then we get this hot moment, kissing, making out, sucking of fingers to put in places. And
oh, it was very, very intense, wasn't it? Very,
yes. Very steaminess.
But then he comes out with
stuff. And then he builds up with all of these beautiful things he's saying, and then the last words he says is, "Be my mistress," and kills the mood, and she just kind of can't take it and walks down the stairs and leaves to go with her friends.
Can I also point out, she goes in for her coin purse, and then all this happens. She then leaves without her coin purse and then just goes out again. Like,
yes.
Do you now not need your money?
Exactly. And how is she going to explain that? Which I saw this whole thread of people with just like these little unanswered questions, and that was one of them. My question was, did she ever go back to Cavender's to get her stuff? Because her glove's in there. So did she go get her bags and her pack and her stuff? Because then she doesn't have the glove. And like,
so did she send, maybe Mrs. Crabtree did
to get her stuff for her.
Mrs. Crabtree went back.
Yes. So it was just literally a thread of all these like unanswered little nonsense, unimportant questions. And the coin purse was one of them. I'll have to send you like this thread of like
yes. That is such a me thing. Like, what are you going to tell all your friends now?
I couldn't find it. Now you have to pay for my drinks. Like, I'll pay you back.
Like, oh, okay. You were gone for quite a while, though, Sophie, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You were gone for quite a while, and why do you smell of sweat?
Exactly. Well, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, how the fallout of this, because yikes.
Look a bit
yikes, Benedict.
There, Sophie. What's happened?
Exactly. So yikes, Benedict. Yikes on bikes for what you've said and misreading the whole moment. So I'm curious to see the fallout of this. And
I have seen just before we do wrap up, I have seen an argument be made that "Will you be my mistress?" isn't the insult we think it is. Now, I'm somebody who listens to many, many history podcasts. I'm aware that being a mistress of a noble family was a pretty big deal for somebody of a lower class in that time. Because, you got wealth, you got protection, you got a place to live,
security,
you got security, you got it all.
Taken care of,
You just didn't have the title. You just didn't have.
I mean, we saw that with Antony and the opera singer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you may even have some influence societally because people like you or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you don't have grand influence, shall we say? You're not going to be out, you're not going to be publicly
acknowledged,
overly open with these kind of things or acknowledged or anything like that, but everybody will probably know you're the mistress. Plenty of kings of England have had this sort of thing, so is it really that of a bad lot for somebody like her? Which is, I think, an interesting argument to actually have, because I think we have the reaction we have to the question because it sounds so off-putting. It's like, read the room, Benedict. Come on, will you be my mistress? No, will you be my wife? Is the question?
Yes, but he still, despite how kind he is to servants, he still has been brought up in this class system.
Of course he has. So you understand it from Benedict,
where he goes, straight there, and he thinks this is like a positive thing that he's offering her. So,
and this is the argument that I was reading into and that it was making in Benedict's minds, and in, to be fair, a sort of pragmatic person's mind, it kind of is a decent proposition. It is quite a decent proposition. But obviously, in the idealized, romanticized world of the Bridgerton and the Tom, we don't want to be hearing this, do we? This isn't real history.
No.
This is over-romanticized, everybody gets with everybody who they want to get with history. So, obviously, we don't want any mistresses.
No. Yeah, that's rough.
So it's an interesting one to kind of think about,
so,
because my reaction immediately was, "Oh, for God, what have you just asked her?"
Yes,
but I'm actually coming to like, and you've killed the mood totally, but maybe it's the history head in me. I've just been thinking,
to understand.
Actually,
he is offering her in his mind. He's offering her
in his mind. He's offering her something pretty great, and to be honest, she'd probably do pretty well with that sort of stability. Would she not want that sort of stability?
But we've seen her kind of deny
practically.
Things. Yes, but we've seen her kind of deny offers from him for other things.
We have,
and
absolutely.
have this kind of, wall up because of that classist thing. So I'm curious to see who's going to be the one to kind of give Benedict that perspective as to why he probably shouldn't have said that. Because like, who can he tell about this, So who's going to tell him?
It's got to be Anthony, ain't it? Come on, give Anthony something else to do.
Yeah, as Anthony was the one with a mistress and a woman he was kind of putting in that spot. So, okay.
I would also like to point out that even after saying all that, I am on the side of why the hell has he asked that of her?
Yes. Why did he even need to say that? Just let the moment happen and kind of
just let the moment happen and have your fun.
And then figure it out.
You're pretty good at that, Benedict.
Yeah. Be in the moment. Like, don't label it. Why are you trying to label stuff right now?
Yeah. So annoying. We'll see how it transpires, won't we?
Yes.
It will. It'll be interesting, no doubt. Of course, we will be back in roughly a month's time, I suppose, won't we? In probably, maybe even exactly a month's time, given that I think its release is the
26th?
6th of February for the next 4 episodes. So maybe in about a month's time, again, we'll be back on Babbling about Bridgerton here on It's a Wonderful Podcast. Of course, if you have been watching today's episode, do subscribe and ding your notification bell here on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel for all the good stuff we do have. And of course, if you have just been listening to today's episode, do subscribe wherever you have been listening and leave your likes and share it around and your comments and all that good stuff, rating and reviews and all that as well. If you would like to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, you can find links to do that in the description of today's episode. Things have been scrolling down at the bottom of the screen all episode long as well if you are watching. But if you are not, you can also find us on and across all the social medias on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dawn with the 3 instead of the E in the because, Jeannine.
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dawn. All your steaminess is where.
You can find me, Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com. Well, it does, of course, leave only one thing left to do, and we did mention it before in a little bit of
oh no, I'm rusty. It's only correct to close out every Bridgerton something or other with a lovely impression of the great Adjo Ando as Lady Dan.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
Bye. Bye.